At the start of September, the Melbourne Fringe Festival had to cancel almost all its live performance events, roughly 90% of the festival, due to the ongoing COVID-19 outbreaks in Victoria, leaving only those programs that were socially distanced entirely digital or could carry on with a digital broadcast. Though there were promises of relaxing some restrictions on the population reaching at least 70% of one-dose vaccination rates, those relaxations would still make it impossible for most people to travel to see live performance, as most people don't live within the promised 10k radius from most of the venues, and venue capacities would remain severely limited anyway. Along with the sad announcement by Fringe itself, the days following filled Facebook feeds and inboxes with the disheartened and agonised announcements by artists and companies confirming that their shows would not go on. Some of these works may find their way to an audience in future, better days, but I fear many of them will simply struggle to find the opportunity, the finances, or the impetus to rise again. The day before, I'd made a video for this channel highlighting some of the shows that I thought looked interesting. Of course, now most of those shows aren't going ahead. So instead, I'm going to focus on what's still available to everybody online and urge you all to tune in and see as many of these shows as you can. It's been a long, hard 18 months for everybody, particularly in the performing arts, which doesn't look like letting up anytime soon. Without your support, because God knows the government ain't coming to the party, there's no knowing how many of these emerging and established artists will still be making art when we finally beat this thing. Okay, enough doom and gloom, let's get to what you can and should see. Full disclosure before I begin, some of these are works by old friends and ex-students of mine, so there's that. I'm biased, of course, but there's nothing in this all-too-brief list that I wouldn't recommend either way. Hack Theatre's production of Border Control by Michelle Sewell, premiering at TheatreWorks after a UK tour, looks really interesting. And so does Hazy Gaze by Tomohiro Minamatsu and Marino Satomi, a video work about the nature of the gaze, acting, existence, and the work of fictional poet Araki Yasusada. Truth to Power Cafe by London Artists Projects in association with Bunjil Place and the City of Casey is a unique collaboration shot live on location at Conway Hall in London and Bunjil Place in Narre Warren. It's not often you see Narre Warren paired up with London. Lockdown Love Story invites its audience into the video chat rooms of a dodgy dating app in a UK-based comedy created by Alice Ford and Charlie Dryden. It promises a unique take on the ridiculous and time-sensitive pressures that attend such relationships under lockdown, told with utterly British self-deprecating humour. While I'm not convinced that the British necessarily have cornered the market on pandemic romance nor self-deprecation, this does sound relatable and fun. There's also That One Time I Joined the Illuminati by multi-award winning comedian Lou Wall. It's no secret, pun intended, that the rise of authoritarianism globally in the last decade has been accompanied and to an extent fueled by the spread of online conspiracy theory groups and misinformation. Wall's new show interrogates one of the most infamous and still most pernicious of these modern myths, the shadowy cabal of global elites known as the Illuminati. Wall's work includes original songs and storytelling that follows on from her award-winning digital performance for the 2021 Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Lucical the Musical. I'm also drawn to Thank You for Calling, a new work set in an environment all too familiar to me from the early days of the 2000s, a corporate call centre. Written and directed by Emlyn Sugden, Thank You for Calling pits snarky call centre employee Moira against an onslaught of dissatisfied customers, prank callers, and the automated messages of phone service providers. Also, the Australian new writing company Lab Kelpie, founded in 2012, and perhaps best known for their 2016 works Elegy and A Prudent Man, are presenting Dog Park by Sally Faraday. Dog Park equates the habitués of the local off-the-leash dog park with the social veneer of respectability worn by the residents of the leafy Melbourne suburbs surrounding it, unmasking their prejudices and ugly realities with the shocking murder of Raji, a private schoolboy on exchange from Sri Lanka whose body is found in the park. Given Lab Kelpie's track record, this new satire is one to watch. There's so much to see that I can't go into detail on everything, or this video will be an hour long. But here are some other shows that are going to be available digitally and that look exciting. There's the ASMR storytelling experience, JSMR, created and performed by Jessica Stanley. The excellent experimental digital theatre company Strange Kit are presenting Under Eden, the Walkman Explorers edition. That's part gameplay, part concept album, and part guided meditation. Poet laureate Telia Neville, who's been making celebrated performance work in Melbourne for over 20 years, is presenting Little Monster, which promises stop-motion animation along with Neville's own brand of dark humour and storytelling. This is one of the shows that has made the leap from a planned live show to a digital broadcast, which is not an easy pivot. And Body Horror, a hypnotic video work inspired by 70s and 80s horror movies, directed by Little Ones Theatre's Stephen Nicolazzo, with students from the Sir Zelman Cowen School of Music and Performance. It's curious, though not surprising, to see how many of these works include themes of anxiety and the need for human connection. Of course, artists are accustomed to reflecting the immediate and pressing emotional political concerns of their society, and given everything the arts community and the world has been through in the last 18 months, a mix of anxiety and the desperate need for connection is not only a reflection of what we're feeling, but also the reason that festivals like the Fringe are so vitally important. It's a shame that the various state and federal governments can't, who am I kidding, just don't want to see that.